All right, folks, this is exciting. We've got here the drawing of the three limited edition, signed by Stephen King and the author. It is number 180, and I have the full set. Have the full set here, so let's just go through this together and open it up. So you can see we got just a plain gray slipcase. You'll see here on the bottom, it's got the little sticker of 180, and I'm not sure if that's officially from the printer or if this is just something that's added on from the dealer that I bought this from. But just kind of a plain gray slipcase. Okay, so here we have the cover. It's got that crazy looking grin on the front. Outside with the blood splatters. I think this is pretty standard for most of the early editions. Now let's take this out of the slipcase and kind of go through the slipcase and see what we got. I try to be so careful with these slipcases. They're actually very valuable to have the slipcases complete and intact. So I try to keep very good care of them. Here you can see the full slipcase laid out. There at the clipped part, it's got a trade edition for $35, and then the deluxe edition is $100. And then it's got the description of it with the publisher Grant. They're the ones that made these first editions. They're just beautiful. On the back, it's got some praise for the book, pretty standard stuff. So there's the slipcase. Beautiful, pristine, perfect condition. One thing I've noticed is when I slip it in the slipcase, the little top here, the little corner, tends to get caught in the slipcase when I stick it in. Kind of like that. You'll see it gets caught up there. So I'm trying to be very careful to make sure that doesn't happen because I want to keep this just perfect. I can still smell the newness of this. It's just such a joy. So here we go to the book itself. The Drawing of the Three, Dark Tower number 2. This is where I first fell in love with the series. The first book just confused me when I was younger, when I read it for the first time. I probably read it for the first time in 1989. So I was still in high school and it didn't make any sense to me. But when I read this one, boy, it finally kind of started to solidify with it. This was kind of my first love of the Dark Tower series. Here on the spine, to see the name. On the back, it is plain. This is kind of an off-white cloth feeling, kind of a sackcloth, kind of a rough cover on the back. So just beautiful. So let's open this up together to the first page. You'll see a kind of a depressing first picture with the crows and Roland. Now here's the really cool part of this. I'm going to be very careful with these. I don't want to cause any damage more than I have to. But you'll see here the limited signed edition page. It specifically says the special first edition of the Dark Tower 2, Drawing of the Three, signed by the author Stephen King and Hale. Edition is limited to 850 copies, which 800 are for sale. And this is copy number 180, signed by Stephen King and Hale. Kind of an interesting thing about this one is a lot of the other first editions, they have some color. Some of these, the number is in red, and then these will be blue. But for some reason on this edition, it's all just plain black ink. I kind of wish it had more coloring in it to kind of help prevent maybe forgeries, but that's what it's got. Comes into the standard intro page. Now here is, it's actually the first time I've been looking at this myself, so kind of exciting. You'll see here at the beginning, the important part says Deluxe First Edition. And then it has a tribute that's kind of fun. It says to Don Grant, who's taken a chance on these novels one by one. So thank you, Grant Publishers, for making these beautiful books. So I'm going to go through really quick and show you the artwork. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not a super big fan of the artwork in these. I think they're kind of too, I don't know what the word is, subtle, kind of dull. But there's the first page artwork. Here's Roland being Roland with his weapon. Sorry, ex-military, so I call it weapon, but it's a gun. I believe that's Eddie. There's Roland getting messed up by the lobstrosities. Sorry, trying to be really careful with these. I believe that's Eddie again during his addiction phase when he's just addicted to heroin, I believe. There's Suzanne having a psychic, not a psychic, a mental breakdown with her split personalities. I find it interesting that she's kind of the love interest of Roland. She's just kind of crazy, but Roland is just insanely stable. So, kind of an interesting dynamic to have those two different things. And there's, of course, Roland looking through the door. I believe that's I can't remember the name of the kid in the first book. I believe that's him watching his death. Sorry, I'm not very up to date on these as much as I should be. There's another one. I'm not sure what that is. I think that's probably Eddie. Again, I'm not quite sure what that is. And there's the full page of the crazy maniacal science grand guy. And there's the back cover. So there you have it. Let's see if we can get this back, the slipcase on so carefully. Keep this thing just pure. So to get this on correctly, like I said, that first part up there, I kind of try to get it down like that. And slip that on first at the top. Be down very carefully at the bottom there. Slide it in there. There you go. Number 180 of the signed limited edition, signed by the author and the artist. Number 180. Thank you.